All right, the big ammo and gun crisis of 2020. The year's almost ended, and we have to ask ourselves, can this get any worse? Um, I went to a gun show a couple weeks ago, did a report on that. You know, good turnout even though it was a small show, okay. Um, I did go to a local store, Sportsman's Warehouse or whatever, Field and Stream used to be up here in Greensboro. I went in there on Sunday just to see if I could find some powder. And also, we have to kind of broaden this to more than just buying ammo. I know a lot of people just will buy ammo, but a lot of people have gotten into reloading. And now there's a total shortage of reloading components and equipment. So I noticed that at the Sportsman's Warehouse, it used to be you go in there and they had very limited stuff in terms of reloading, okay? They'd have a few items and they don't really restock it, and you'd go in there normally and see one or two things go, and then the inventory never changed or expanded. But since this crisis started with the COVID and everything, they have a lot more equipment, dies, shell holders, tools, there's trimmers, scales and stuff. There was a lot more of it, and you see a lot of it disappearing, so they keep restocking it. Also, gunpowder, forget about primers, that shelf is always empty. But they used to have some gunpowder, they'd have 1 pound cans, and I mean, you go in there when they restock it, there was about 5 or 6 different powders, they had a good variety in 1 pound cans. I went in there a few times and picked up 3 cans, and that's basically what I was doing because forget about ammunition. So I go, and there's nothing there. There's some die sets, there's some reloading tools, but there's no powder, there's no primers. I think they had a few boxes of cast bullets, even projectiles. Hornaday and that, they had huge shelves full of it, which you didn't see before. Those are depleted. So what I went there for is gone. So I said, hey, you know what, let me go over to the other side. And this is after Black Friday. So I went over there, and all the ammunition aisles, okay, are empty other for the top 2 shelves. I mean, they usually have 6 shelves and the whole thing, that's all they got, just little strips. The only rimfire they had was 17 caliber. I don't know if they had any handgun. I didn't even look at what ammunition was there. There was rifle cartridges in that. And it used to be you could get 4 boxes of whatever you wanted. I remember when all this started. Now it's 2 boxes of any ammunition. I think other than shotgun shells. Shotgun shells, bird shot and that. No one's buying it much because people don't really, it's for hunting. So you can buy, I guess, as many shotgun shells as you want. But anything else, 2 boxes. Then there used to be no restrictions over in the reloading area. I'd go in there, I bought 2-3 pounds of powder. I think one time I bought 4 pounds of powder about 3-4 months ago. Now there's a big sign up there. 1 container of gunpowder per day. So now it's gotten to where I don't know if everyone realizes that everything is sold out, because I went and looked online. There is no way to get certain powder. I mean, some off types, or the black powder and black powder substitute, I think is still available. But just about anything I would use to reload is out. So now I don't know if people are buying it and marking it up and selling it because there's a shortage, or just doing this crap where they buy anything and just put it up hoping to trade it or sell it later. But there's a definite shortage of any type of reloading component. So it's going back to the ammo. Okay, a lot of you guys tune in because the ammo. There are people showing up with it online, 9mm brand name stuff, with a not the steel cased foreign stuff, Russian stuff, but I think like Blazer and Winchester, you'll see it. But they're asking anywhere from $47.50, and I think then you got to include shipping. It's about $50 a box if someone has it. And these are online retailers; these are stores, okay. And I've heard a lot of, if you go to, people have been telling me, any gun shop, any sporting goods store has been packed. You go in there when they're open, there's all kinds of people in there looking for stuff. And I think a friend of mine was telling me a buddy went to a local gun shop, had to pay over $40 for a box of 9mm ammo. So this is kind of like universal and everywhere. If you go on AmmoSeek and type in certain cartridges, it comes back blank, and that's supposed to be a search engine that checks everybody that's posting online. It's kind of odd, but yeah, the ammo shortage is there. I don't know about guns. I haven't went to purchase a new handgun or that. When I was in the sporting goods store, they had, your scoped hunting rifles. There were some AR-15 type guns, and I think they had a couple of them AR-15 shotgun type guns. Something I'm not interested, but they're all over $1,000. If you go into the stores, yeah, all the $1,000 plus items are still there. Handguns were kind of sparse. Of course, at that Sportsman's Warehouse, their prices ain't exactly low either. Okay, and they had a few revolvers, some autos, Glocks, and I think some Berettas were in stock. They had some used guns, and their used gun prices are insane. I forget what I went in there to look at in the used gun rack, and I mean, it was like 5 times what the gun was worth. So I don't know. It's not getting any better. I just realized the shortage of reloading components just this week. I was working on some projects, and now I was handling the odd military calibers like the 6.5s, 303 British, some people talked about, and stuff like that you usually don't find. The Japanese calibers are something that are hard to find, and I usually fool around with them and sell a few boxes of it. And basically the components really never run out for these odd calibers because there's not a high demand. Even in a crisis period, there's not really a high demand for these older, obsolete, call them military calibers. But unfortunately now I found out even that stuff is gone. The 6.5 Carcano, because they've just imported thousands of these rifles. That's in huge demand now. 7.35 is not, but the problem is I have components, but I ran out of powder because I really don't load a lot of it, and the powder I use for the load, it's pretty common IMR powder. I figured, just go get some. That ain't gonna happen. So that's one caliber that I have the components, but I can't get the powder. And I'm not going to go through the thing of trying to develop another load with another powder when I got a load that's a winner. Somebody was asking me about 357 Magnum, and it's kind of like, you can forget about that. All right, I mean, there's no components. And I don't know where this is all going. See, the problem, what's different this time around, is in the past people would speculate. And it's kind of the core of the problem. People would just run off and say, hey, there was a mass shooting, so they're going to have to pass a bill. Okay? And And on just this premise, this speculation that, hey, they're gonna do this, they're gonna outlaw this, okay? That has driven people to go and pay, instead of paying at the time, was like $600-700 for an AR-15, they would pay $1,500 to get theirs now, okay? And it was all fake, it was all just a panic. And then it would subside in a few months. And things would go back to normal in about 4 or 5 months, because everybody would buy up something lying around, go into a panic, and then after about 4 or 5 months realize this panic is unfounded, then everything would reset again. This has happened several times over the past 15 years. Well, what's different here, there is a reason to be panicky, okay? There used to be one perceived, but now there is an actual reason. They still have not sorted out this election crap. Supposedly this week they have to, by law, do something. Contest or get electorals, or I'm not quite sure. Nobody's saying nothing in the mainstream media. The alternative media, even when President Trump is on there saying, he just says, just watch, things are going to happen. He does not say what or where. I guess they have filed court actions. Some of them have been turned down. Some of them they've looked into. One state allowed them to examine these voting machines for a reason, to see if there was some way they were manipulated with. And nobody knows. It's totally uncertain. You can't go by anything you see in the normal news, say on all the different channels. If you go by what goes on in this independent stuff, where they were showing President Trump speaking and stuff, and he's really not clear on what is going on. And so the difference is now, other than in the past with these panic, is I believe personally that this is an attempt, this whole election thing is an attempt to kind of overthrow the country one way or the other. That I believe. We're at war. Even though there's no planes, soldiers, shooting, or bombs or anything, we're in a type of warfare. It's pretty serious, and the future of the country as a whole, the future of the United States, is hanging in the balance. People can go, oh, well, Biden won the election, what are you complaining about? Well, there's a little bit more than the election, okay? Globalization, world economy, money, trying to overthrow this country and eliminate it is another one. And all of this is driving people, and this is where the fear is, okay? And people are terrified, they want to protect themselves, they buy guns, they need ammunition. A lot of people that have been through this several times have now gotten into reloading, which isn't cheap, by the way. What they charge you for the components, when you buy all the components, brand new brass, the bullets, primers, and the powder, you do end up spending more money accumulating the components than if you just went and bought. Say I use that PPU brand because they do a lot of the military things. It's cheaper to buy PPU off the shelf than it is to reload it using their new components. You're actually paying $2-3 more a box than what they retail it for. Okay, by the time you accumulate all the components and then the equipment you need to buy, a minimum of like $300-400 worth of reloading tools to even do your basic simple jobs. Unless you want to go with a Lee loader and sit there and whack out one cartridge at a time, you can do it for less than $100. But if you wanted to go get a RCBS outfit, which top quality stuff, you're looking $300-400 layout to get a nice set to reload just about anything you want, basic tooling. That stuff you can't get. I ordered a press, a little Lee, little single stage press. What I needed it for is I had a tool, file a trim die for a real short cartridge. I had the die made up. It's an unusual cartridge, so the length is short. Well, I found that when you put this into a standard press, that space that threads down in there, this thing is shorter than that space. So the only thing to do is you have to machine about 1/4 inch off the top of a reloading press to shorten that distance. Well, I'm not going to do that with a full-size press, so I got a little tiny, the least expensive press I could find. I figure I'll mill it off and just use that for the one thing. I ordered that 2 months ago. I still don't have it. They say it's on the way. I got a tracking number a week ago. That's another thing. This stuff is not showing up. Even, of course it is Christmas, and you send anything by any carrier, be it the post office or anything else, stuff's taking forever and a day to get through. So, I don't know. It's not good. I guess we're going to have to wait and see how the political and weird shit, and that coronavirus, they're coming down with the clampdown again. This is sending people into a panic. They're flipping out and toilet paper, paper towels, and that's disappearing in some areas again. This same whole thing again. It's like some bizarre reaction to the way people are. I guess they're just ill-prepared. I mean, most of us that are into the shooting sports, do have a supply of ammunition and guns. Like sometimes you'll go out to the range and burn up all your 45 or 9mm and say, well, what the hell, I'll just, next week or next time I get paid, I'll go down and buy another few hundred rounds. And, because the purpose of putting up 3,000 rounds of ammo, if you don't shoot it, that's money tied up. I mean, yeah, in a crisis you could probably sell it and make a profit, but I do use the stuff. That's another weird thing. I do use it. I go out and shoot, target shoot and stuff quite often, so it always made me wonder, these people, because I've been to gun shows and this guy, oh, I got 5,000 rounds of this and 5,000 rounds of that. Well, what good is it if you're not going to use it? Or you're going to wait for it to go to $50 a box, and then sell it? I don't know. So, where this crap's all going, or how we're going to get out of this, that's the thing that's scary. I don't see it ending anytime soon. Excuse me. But, when people were making videos and talking about this, when it all started with this coronavirus and the shortage all started earlier this year, they did make a valid point that the demand is 10 times higher than normal. And with them shutting businesses and that down, crippling industry and just transportation and that, and the fact that factories are set up to manufacture so much. So, we'll use just a number. Okay, 1,000. You make 1,000 of something over a period of a year, say a large thing, or over a period of a month. Whatever way you want to look at it. Your factory at full production can make 1,000 of these items, no matter what it is. Well, 10 times the demand means now, instead of producing 1,000, maybe selling 600-700 in a month and then having a build-up, now the monthly demand is for 10,000, but you can only make 1,000. Okay, so you see, manufacturing, people are going, well, why don't the factories just work more overtime or more production? Well, yeah, they can. A factory probably can with a little bit of overtime and that. Go a little bit more percentage over. Say if they worked overtime in a month, instead of making 1,000, they'd make 1,100. But when you have a demand for 10,000, even making that 1,100, 100 more a month on that percentage wise isn't going to get you caught up. Okay? No way. So that's kind of one part of the problem, is the demand outstrips the capability to supply it. And because they're still making ammo. Okay, shipments are coming in. But a lot of places it's like, I remember at one gun store for the people retired and closed it. They were the only ones in the area that stocked gunpowder, reloading supplies, primers, things like that. It was probably one of the only places that did it. And I'd go in there and they'd tell me this. They said, look, every single item that we stock, be it powder, primers, whatever, every single thing is all on back order. You know, we got cleaned out, it's all on back order. And what a lot of the dealers tell me is when you put these orders in to the wholesaler, say you'll order, you know, a case of powder, which is 8 pounds or something like that, single things. You may get a case in a couple months, or they may have to divide it up where you get 4 pounds, half a case, or something. Or, you know, I'm really not sure how the, it depends on how your wholesaler is, or what he gets in, and his customer base. You know, sometimes certain customers that order large quantities may get that, and, you know, now it's up to individuals deciding who's getting what or how, or, you know, I'm not quite sure in the whole supply chain how this works, because I heard rumors that certain shops can get you things, you know, at a slightly higher price. I don't know if they're paying a higher price to get it or what, or, you know, but by most accounts, you just can't find anything anywhere, period. And how long this is going to go on? The problem is the factors driving this have not been answered yet. In other words, there's no end to the election. There's no end to what kind of political strife is going to happen. Because I believe by the end of this month, there's going to be some sort of shit's going to fly one way or the other. Whatever they do, however this election goes, one way or the other, somebody's going to be really, really pissed off, and there's going to be problems. And this is going to create more aggravation, fear, unrest, uncertainty, and it just drives this whole problem off the charts. Okay? You know, hopefully things won't get to open rioting and mayhem in the streets. You know, nobody needs that. I don't want to see it and don't really need to deal with it. Okay? Not at my age. But you don't know. And this is kind of a thing behind it. Then once the smoke clears and we get settled in, then we got to get things back. Are we going to go back, stop this coronavirus shit, reopen everything and get our country functioning again, just in getting food? And, well, that's another thing. Food hasn't run out. My wife noticed that. Paper towels and toilet paper, but not as bad as it was when they had that shutdown when you couldn't find food in the grocery store. Okay? Something's got to change when we get this country running back up again, calm everybody down, and probably it might take 6 months or so, and it's unknown because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen by the end of this month, within the next couple weeks. By law, they have to do something with this election and you know, force it through or make a decision or whatever the process is. It's very complicated. Congress has to decide, or the Supreme Court or something. And it's got everybody on edge real bad. You know, this country's got to get back in control and get back to what's going on. If it doesn't, then I have no idea what's going to happen. Okay? And all of this is going to be a far worse scenario than any of us could imagine. Well, that's my take on it. Enjoy the video, subscribe, Uh, you know, if you can, send some support or whatever, helps me out. And just stay tuned and get ready for the next big holiday coming up.